Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, May 6th. My name is Michael Como. I'm Director of Content for T3 Live. Now, normally, Adam Mesh and I get together on Wednesdays. We had to move the schedule around, so I had to force Adam to come and party with me today. So, Adam, how are you doing?
I'm good. It was a funny day watching the Trump Carney exchange on CNBC. I don't know if you caught it, but we got some market movement on it. And it was really funny to watch the markets react real time to the president speaking. He was like, we're going to do great things with Canada. We're going to get a deal. And the market started shooting up, right? And I knew not to chase this because, they were going to keep speaking. And then eventually, all of a sudden, he's like, I do think that, Canada should become part of the United States, though. And all of a sudden, the market starts turning down. And Carney's like, there's some things that aren't for sale. And Trump's like, everything's for sale. It's a matter of time. He's like, no, we're never for sale. He's like, yeah, give it some time. And the market's just going down. And then it was just like, literally you were getting almost 0.5% moves. Not what would be 0.5%? Yeah, 0.5% moves on the conversation.
And God knows if Trump decides to tweet in the middle of the night, we're just going to let Canada be the way it is. I don't know. Sometimes you ever think that I don't know, Trump has to be like a market maker's dream, or, the people working at these brokerages.
Volatility's dream. Yeah.
Like Robinhood, they have to absolutely be loving this because this is just, the volatility is just insane out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, but before we dig into, looking forward. So I want to talk about Uber. So last week, Adam came out, pounded the table in Uber. He said it's a stock of the year. I actually bought myself some on Friday after thinking about it for a little bit, and it's gone up about 10% since then. Now, Adam, do you have any updated thoughts on Uber? You still like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you have a fundamental belief and then the technicals support it. The market's down today. Uber's up again today. The biggest event is earnings, which are tomorrow. And I just want to look and see if they're before the open or after the open. Uber earnings.
It's before the open.
Okay. So, you could get one of those back and forth moves. I think the potential is there for it to shoot a lot higher than lower. So this is a stock I'll own into earnings. My options trade is already we're already situated in that we own the 75 calls for December. We're short the 85 calls for July. So
So you're caught in that weird middle ground where you want it to go up.
Well, if it goes down, we're fine because we sold the July calls. If it goes up, we made money on the trade because of what we collected already. So we can't lose. For this particular calendar trade, diagonal calendar trade, a big up move would kind of just end the trade for us, which is fine. We made money and that's what we're supposed to do. I own the stock, so.
Okay, now, but is this the type of stock where you'd be willing to own it and just not look at it for the next 5 years? Do you put it in that type of category?
I have trouble doing that, but I've done it. Whenever I have done it, it is it's worked out. American Express is something I was able to just hold and never look at, and I mean, it's gone up so much over the years. So when it eventually gets enough away that I stop looking at it, that's good for me.
Interesting. Okay, all right. So what else are you in right now?
Okay, bunch of stuff. I came in with a bearish calendar spread on the Qs that was expiring today. Closed those in the morning. Re-entered when Trump said Canada should be part of the United States. Got out of those for profit. So I made 2,400 in the Qs today. Interesting KIDZ trade. I'm almost out of it now, and it's late. But they did a deal with Solana, where Solana agreed to buy $400 million worth of equity. It's a relatively new company, so even though it's cheap, it's only been trading. It's called Class Overs, KITZ, and it's AI learning. So it's an AI play that didn't start trading until April 7th of this year. Opened at 4, went to 10, closed at 392 that day. Was sitting at 1 for a while, and then on May 1st they announced the deal with Solana to buy $400 million worth of equity, and it went to 530. The next day it hit 10. Yesterday it hit 6 and 8, and today it hit a high of 710. It's now at 665. The volume is there. I guess what I'm trying to piece my mind around is two things. It's all around the Solana that I find it interesting. Solana is a $75 billion company. So they're trying to get people to transact and use Solana with this stock, which is interesting, but they have a lot riding on it to make sure it works. Market cap for kids is 104 million, but it's a $400 million deal. So like
it could be a situation where the share count is not being reported properly for KIDZ, which is not uncommon with any kind of like new issue or SPAC or anything.
Right.
There's a good chance that's what's going on here.
Okay. That I wish I had. That's why I wish I had my research desk to go over the numbers for me, because it's still trading like it has the potential to really get squeezed. But in fairness, I had 3,000 shares. I only have 800 now. So I'm winding down this trade anyhow. But I was looking at it. It was interesting. I'm in Core Z. That has earnings tomorrow. You know, I like that stock. It's gotten stronger. Core Weave has gotten a lot stronger. I have a couple shares as a reminder. I don't know why I'm in this, but SBGI has been looking good. You know what that does? I don't even know what that does. Sinclair?
Did that used to be a radio company?
I don't know. Media company, local television, digital platforms in the United States. Yeah.
Now, okay, all right. So I think this is an interesting topic then.
It's trading well.
This is what I'm saying. Are you okay with the chart? Looks good. I like the way it acts. I'm not going to fight with it.
I don't have a lot. There's volume's not there to make a big play in it. Just something that I kept on my radar, and I do my best to try to take stuff off my radar. Like if something looks bad, I want to get rid of it and keep my screen clean. But this one has kept me following it because of the fact that it doesn't really go down a lot, which is something I like. And I noticed that. So it's stayed in this 15 area, 14, 15 since it got there. I don't know.
Okay.
Nothing special.
Okay. All right. So big news is we have the Fed coming tomorrow, and there's this huge discussion over if Powell's going to go against Trump, because, you know, Trump's been yapping endlessly. He wants the Fed to cut rates. You know, I feel like the circus is just never going to end. So are you doing anything differently into the Fed tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm meeting my parents in the city to help them out with something. And I'm meeting them at a doctor appointment at 1 o'clock. So I'm not able to trade it. This is my opinion. I went over this on my call earlier today, though. This is where I'm at. In looking at the technicals, I believe the leader is the Qs, the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is the leader of the markets because it's where, you know, the biggest growth has been, most value, most movement, right? We agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. The Qs represent the NASDAQ. Okay. So I just look at the Qs. The Qs have a high of 540, a low of 402 in the last 6 months. In looking at the chart, the next level of resistance for the Qs would be 500, which we're not far away from. the next level of support on the downside would be 450. If you're of the thought that we're not going back to our highs in the near future, which I believe, and that it's more likely we would retest the 402 than the 540, which I believe, then there's more downside risk than there is upside reward. So that is my mentality going into the Fed announcement. We're limited on the upside, more exposure to the downside, went up 9 of the last 10 days, had a 20% rally in a short amount of time. So, like, I'm looking to lighten up, not add anything new. I usually like to trade right after it reacts. I won't be able to this time. But that's my take.
You know, it's funny when you said that the doctor's appointment is at 1. Since it's New York, there's a good chance you might not see the doctor till 3. So I think
That's what I figured.
Though I feel like in the age of ZocDoc and all these, I feel like medical practices have become a lot more systemized. I feel like doctor's appointments are more efficient than they used to be. Okay, but just so we're clear on, we went over the positions you have, but are you holding more cash into the Fed than usual?
Well, my trading account's not meant for cash, but actually, yes. Looking at it now, I did lighten up a little bit. I sold a little bit of Corsi into the earnings announcement. That was my biggest position, and I like the way I've been trading. So I just didn't want to get hit with an earnings announcement and be down. So I lightened up in Corsi and CoreWeave, which I've been trading the most of.
Okay, all right. So I want to get a little into more also of how you think and how you position around these events, because if you think, so I'm going to ask a really dumb question. So if you think there's more downside potential than upside potential, why not just buy a whole bunch of Q puts?
Because then I'm trying to time the market, and you can't. You can't. What you could do, here, you want me to share the screen for a second?
Sure.
How do I do that?
Hit present, then present, then screen share, and then
all right.
The window.
Are we good?
I'm putting it up right now. All right, you're on the screen.
Okay. So let's say that 450 we think would be the next level of support. So maybe we go to May, right? And you could do something like this, where you do like a 475, 455, and you're risking $2,700 to make $11,000. That over the next 3 weeks, we drop back down. I don't hate that as a hedge. Like if the Fed announcement, something bad happens, I'm not going to be there. I don't mind doing something like this. Kind of like that. So that's like a trade I would put on. I'll do that now. So I could just hold it, and that's like a little, like, it's fine. If I lose that 2,000, that means that most likely my other stuff is doing well and I'm fine.
It's great. I feel like I just hypnotized you into taking a trade. This is great. This is fun.
I was thinking about it right before you said it. So that's why that's why I just kind of was like, let me just do it on the call.
All right. I want to throw a question out to the audience. I'll just ask it.
All right. You could stop it. Too. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Just let us know in the chat. Are you bullish or bearish? Now, sorry.
Well,
interesting. One thing I've noticed in our community. So politics has come up quite a bit lately. Interesting. Like I feel like our audience there was definitely a big pro-Trump bent to it up until early April. And I feel like that sentiment has come down quite a bit. All right. Let's get some answers in the audience. Mike is saying bearish. Carol saying bearish. Okay, so now as far as like like we've talked about a lot of this with earnings. Do you think like most people should be waiting and seeing what happens with the Fed?
I mean, yeah, based on what I said, I do.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because
and also based on the way I answered your question, because there's more downside risk for the short term. I think it's hard to ask that question without giving a time frame. I think it's very important if you're going to ask someone if they're bullish and bearish, you ask a time frame, because the longer you go, the more the answer should be bullish, because the market always goes up. I very rarely would hear someone say I'm bullish short term, bearish long term.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm more interested in people's gut reaction. I'd rather have them not think about it.
I am neutral short term, bearish for the next couple months, bullish for the next couple of years.
Okay, now,
but again, I'm not managing big money that way. That's just a tilt for how I'm coming into my trading and what trades I'm looking to put on.
Yeah, but well, I mean, that's the whole advantage of not having $25 billion to deal with, is you could be completely liquid in 5 seconds, I'm sure, if you really had to be. And you can pretty much get in and out of anything. So
not in my investments, in my trading account. Yeah.
Okay. Like what? So what do you think there is? Like, I mean, if there is actual resolution, and I think it's crazy that the market is reacting so much to Canada, because of the whole thing just seems silly. But do you think if there actual is resolution on trade, do you think it actually will be bullish for the market?
Depends on the deal.
I mean, okay, but do you think because of all the chaos, the bar is not that high? So
I just can't wrap my head around the new normal. It's refreshing. It's entertaining. But when you have the president of the United States saying, oh, your country should be part of our country, and their leader's like, we're not for sale, and that's playing out in real time. Like, usually it's much more cordial than that. You know, he's just so direct and says whatever he's thinking that you're like watching, you're like that would be like you coming to my house for dinner and being like, you have a nice house. I think your house should be part of my estate. And you'll come under my domain and I'll own the Comeau family's house and you'll be part of me, and you report to a bigger system. And you'd be like, no, I think I'm gonna have my own home, and I'll run my own household. Like, no, I'm gonna run your household. I'll protect you. I protect you. Mike, you're protected because of me. Your house is safe because of what I do. Right? How weird would that be?
It actually reminds me of prison. It's like, I'll protect you and you'll be my buddy. But there's going to be a price. I mean, like this goes back to the whole idea that Trump is playing, 4D chess, and because his game is create a lot of chaos to just move things in his favor, negotiating wise, because I mean, he has the ultimate bully pulpit, because let's say if he was the prime minister of England or the leader of any big country, like, this wouldn't fly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I do feel like that's the biggest advantage in negotiating, is he's got a combination of power and unpredictability. So that goes a long way. I mean,
it really does.
Because the thing is, man, I was 100% convinced at the beginning that this was going to be, he was going to do some very, very minor deals, get some super small concessions out of countries like China, and declare victory, and we'd move on. That's what I was convinced was going to happen.
But then I think he realized he had more leverage than he thought. But like imagine you said, all right, we're doing this, and you're like, this is going to be offensive. How's people going to react? And imagine the whole world was like, no, let's do a deal. Let's do a deal. Like, oh, wait, they can't afford not to have us as customers. We're like the number one customer in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything on my desk I'm looking at right now, it's like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of computer stuff. I think everything was made in China or Taiwan or wherever. So yeah, so it's like mutually assured destruction is one interpretation.
It's certainly interesting.
But it is. I do think there is something refreshing in that. Like we're seeing that leaders are more human than they pretend to be, because it's like, I feel like everybody has a show they put on for the media. Like when you see Jamie Dimon on TV versus Jamie Dimon in the leaked audio, when he's telling everybody to come back to the office, two completely different people.
I never saw it. Do you have it?
I can't play it, but basically he's sick of everybody working from home and he wants their asses back in the office.
So what was the difference between?
Basically, you could tell that he's a lot more assertive and no bullshit when the cameras are off, which I've met some leaders of very big companies and seen how they operate behind the scenes. And they're all crazy in regular life, because you can't be a normal person and run a giant company. It's not possible. Like, you have to be a maniac.
Are you including Sean?
Yes, absolutely. I will say this about Sean. He might be the smartest person I've ever met. And there's been a million situations, I won't name names, where people were talking so much smack behind his back that he didn't know what he was doing. He always knew. And he's also the most honest person I've ever met. He might be the only person that's never lied to me, like in business, I think.
By the way, Sean is the founder of T3 Live. He was the best man at my wedding. We went to Michigan together. He is loyal and honest and very good at a lot of things. I agree with you.
But
he also has that like that crazy switch that
yeah, because he's at the center. Listen, he gets the rewards. So he puts up with the most BS, which we don't even, because like, listen, we all have our stations and we have our own concerns. He has all of our concerns combined times 1,000, because there's God knows how much, like you get emails and Slack messages and text messages over crap that's going down. It's like, that's on a bigger scale. So I don't think you cannot be a normal person and be good at running a big organization. It's not possible.
Well, I think not being normal has its advantages for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like good or bad. It's just different personality types. Like, there are people who thrive with extreme pressure. There are some people that are good at keeping the train on the tracks. Right. It's just about people's individual skill sets and their, I guess like their psychology and their emotional style.
Look at some of the most successful leaders of publicly traded companies. Elon Musk is not normal. Founder of Palantir is not normal. Mark Zuckerberg is not considered to be normal. Meta. Jeff Bezos, maybe a little normal. I don't know. He has been to space. I don't know. Who's normal, right?
No.
And you can keep going, by the way, with those leaders. You're right. You're right.
But like, behind when the curtains are closed, they are much more brash. They are much more aggressive, because they have no time and they have a ton of stuff to get done. So they got to be nuts.
What do you think about Palantir, by the way?
I'm gonna tell you the most bullish thing in the world about Palantir is I'm afraid to buy it, and I don't know why. But like, it's, I think the fix is in for Palantir to just keep growing steadily until the end of time.
I still just don't know what they do. Can you explain why? I don't know. I want to understand.
So they use AI and advanced technology to basically crunch data for the government, and it's basically like the back end AI tech operating system.
So should I sell an 85 put?
I have no idea. It's a tough one because it's so interesting because like it's a super expensive stock. The analysts all hate it. Like retail loves it. It kind of feels like Tesla with more stability.
Well, I will.
But like I suspect my working theory is the U.S. government will always make sure Palantir has enough business to look good in exchange for some proprietary technology relationship.
Huh.
And that I just pulled out of my butt. I have zero evidence that that's the case.
Adam, you're a little nuts, aren't you? Yeah, I'm calmer now. But yeah,
you got to listen.
My risk thresholds are definitely different than most people.
All right, how so?
Well, Tom Sosnoff, who owned Thinkorswim and Tasty Trade, said, "I'm the biggest degenerate trader he's ever met."
He said that about you?
Yeah.
Oh, how is he defining? Because you're not doing things in a super technical, mathematical way?
No, in the amount I trade, he couldn't get over how active. Like he sees how many trades I make a day, and he like couldn't believe it.
But you're a customer of his. He should be happy, right?
No, degenerate wasn't being used in a bad way.
I know, but
yeah, I guess it's technically a bad word, but it wasn't being used like that.
I think that it's actually complimentary. I think in a way, I think he's in a way he's like playfully saying you're brave. But is it fun for you?
Yeah, if it wasn't, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, so I think if it's fun and you're not losing a bunch of money, there are worse things to be doing. You could be gambling.
I've kind of morphed into trading really being like how I am in life. Like when I'm in control of my trading, I'm in control in life. When I feel out of control trading, I feel out of control in life. Right now, I feel really good about my trading. I feel really good and in control of what I'm doing in life.
Okay, but which one drives the other?
I don't know.
Because I know.
I don't know.
I know stuff like when I clean my apartment and I make sure my laundry is picked up and I'm sleeping right, everything. I'm wondering if it's a situation like that. Everything just goes right.
I don't know. Probably has something to do with sleep.
Sleep is the ultimate performance enhancing drug.
I got this Whoop.
Does it work?
Yeah. So it's like attached to your pulse, and it knows when you're working out. It knows when you're sleeping, and it tells you like you're behind on your sleep. You need a little extra. Try to get a little extra, like little reminders, stuff like that. Things you know, but it's like being validated with numbers on that. And so last night, I like went to bed early after the Knicks game, which was amazing. And today it was like, great job. You got extra recovery. You're good to go. You could take on extra workouts. And I'm like, nice.
That's all. No, when I wake up after, because I'm a terrible sleeper. I always have been. And like I've dealt with insomnia, but there are days when I wake up and I think, why do I feel so good? Why is the sky so pretty today? And why are you in such a good mood? Why are you calling people and kept catching up with everybody? And it's like, oh, you idiot! You actually slept for 7 hours.
Right.
It's so interesting, but like society wise, insomnia is on the upswing big time. Too much coffee and smartphones. keeping everybody awake at night.
I just realized that I was like stressing about these Core Z earnings announcements.
Uh-huh.
Here, let's do this together. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen again.
All right, I'll bring it up. Okay.
Okay. So I own 1,800 shares. I know I have 2,000 in another account, but let's keep that separate. Then I have a 9/10 bear call spread, which is pretty little risk. I own a May 16th 9 call 8. So let's just go over the bullish. So it's 1,800, 2,600, 3,200. I have an 11 call. I have the 9 call is 5,000. This put for 3, call it 5,300. And then 2 wider spreads, and then 22 of these is 7,500. Right? So if it were to go up a couple points, that'd be really good for me. But I was like stressing about the earnings, and I just realized like the 850 puts for this week are 34 cents. So do I just hedge with some of those?
Okay, so the question I always have with the situation is,
I don't usually hold into earnings, but it looks like it's pretty cheap to just hedge.
I mean,
I guess I wouldn't really care if it went from 9 to 8 because I'd only be down a couple $1,000s. I think my problem would begin if it started going to like 5. So maybe I just buy. How much are they next week? Yeah, maybe I just buy 40 of these because I already sold the 18 calls and the 12 is 3. Yeah. So I'm just going to buy 40 of these. Hope I lose $600 and make it on the rest, right?
I mean, all right, I realize I'm saying this like after you place the order, but if you're going to hedge, why not just own less of it?
I can answer that. Well, I think it's my play is for it to go to at least $12 or $13. Okay.
Yep.
From 9. And if it does, that should be worth 20, 30 grand, whatever it is, plus some of these. Oh, I didn't even count these bigger positions, which if it really started to go 12 or 13, and I have the bigger positions start to kick in. But I have those further out in time. So if the earnings brings it down temporarily, and I want to stay in it, then I risk $600. And let's say it drops 2 points, I'll make $8 grand on the puts for $600 hedge, and I get to keep the positions long term like I wanted to.
Yeah, I always find this an interesting issue because I've met traders who are vehemently anti-hedging of any kind, others that use it regularly, because there's a million different ways you can slice and dice the math.
Yeah, it's interesting.
All right, I have a random out of nowhere question. So do you ever use reverse psychology on yourself? I ask because I do this to myself sometimes. So what happens is sometimes I will think something is going to collapse and I will start looking at puts and pricing them out, and I'll look at the short, I'll see if I can borrow it, all that stuff. And then I'll realize I'm doing exactly the most obvious thing in the whatever it is. I'm playing into the most obvious case that everybody knows. And there's times where I will buy calls on something I was originally thinking about shorting. Do you ever catch yourself? We call this like a George Costanza thing where you do the exact opposite of what you would normally do. Right. But like, do you ever catch yourself in that sort of thinking?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with the indexes. Like if I'm trying to trade the Qs, I'm like, this looks amazing. I should short it. This looks terrible. I'm going to buy. Yes.
That's the fight. I mean, I think that's the reason I'm not like a professional trader. It's literally because I would be playing reverse psychology with myself for like 10 hours a day and buying everything I want to short and shorting everything I want to buy.
I am curious. I want to ask the people on it because we have a good crowd today. Do you think my strategy with Core Z made sense to buy some puts for the short-term play, or would you guys have done something different? Guys, is affectionate for men and women. Just curious what everyone else's, how you all would have handled it. I don't usually hold into earnings, so it's a unique mindset.
What makes this time different? Carol is saying yes. William is saying yes. Mike is saying yes.
Like if Corsi, it's relatively if it went down to 6, then I'm making $8,000 on the puts, and I still get to hold everything else I have. And imagine it reverses that day, like it goes down to 6 and comes back up to 8, and I get out of the shorts on the way down. That's, But if it goes up to 10, I'll be up 2. I don't really need this one anymore, actually. If it goes up to if it goes up to 10, then I make 1,800, 2,600, 3,200, and then 2,800, 4,600, plus those. If it goes up a point, I make $8,000, so I'll lose $600. But if it goes down to, now I'm not getting killed. I think it makes perfect sense. I just was surprised it was so cheap. I guess their expectation is, and this will answer the final question, the expected move on earnings is only 81 cents. So
that doesn't sound, it sounds a little small for a stock like that.
Well, it's only $9, so it's a 10% move, but it makes me feel better that I have to leave to go to the city tomorrow. Fed announcement, my biggest position has earnings. My mom asked me to show up and meet her. I say yes. Family first, right, everybody? Family first.
Make sure you take notes. Yeah, those doctor's appointments or your parents' they can be stressful.
All right, this is good. I like these daily talks. You all have fun with this? This is good, helpful. Just a general conversation, but the Uber did hit from last week. That was good.
And it's still going up.
Yeah, went over some trades, got a perspective into the Fed announcement, overall mindset. I think we're pretty good, right, guys?
Yep. You guys are going to see us next week? Adam, next Wednesday, good for you?
Yeah, next Wednesday's good.
All right, folks. Everybody, we better see you next Wednesday. Come with we want the tough questions. You know what? I want the questions people are afraid to ask.
Mike, can you clip the part about Sean and send it to him?
No, I don't want to get. I don't want his ego getting too out of control.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.